Why don't we start this video by saying that we are going to connect the NFT staking smart contract to a ReactJS Web3 application. I know you like that. Let's go. We have the smart contract. We saw that the smart contract was issuing ERC20 reward tokens to our NFT holders. I don't think we are going to be successful until we have a proper Web3 dAPP developed so our end users can log in and stake their NFTs and claim their ERC20 token rewards from our smart contract, right? So, what I'm going to do in this video, we are starting with connecting the smart contract to a ReactJS web server that will interact by using a contract ABI. So the contract ABI, I think this is the most important thing in the Web3 Ethereum-based space to interact between the smart contract and your web interface. So if you're wondering, how do I connect the Web3 application so it can start talking to my smart contract? One word, ABI. Actually, 3 words. Application binary interface. That's the connection, or that is literally the language. I'm not going to call it language. I am going to call it the directory, right? So Web3 needs to know where it needs to point its function references to perform calls into the smart contract. And with that, we have the ABI. With the ABI, we can tell React or our front end, hey, if I need to stake, this is what you're calling. If I need to claim, this is what you're calling, and so forth. Okay, so let me tell you something. Let's go ahead, let's configure a ReactJS web front end, and let's build or code a stake button so you can see how can we interact with our NFT staking smart contracts. And this will be video number 1 of a couple of videos that I will be creating until we have a complete Web3 dAPP that can stake, unstake, claim, and verify the token earnings for all of our holders, because that's what we want. We want to have a web application that could provide ease of use, ease of access, that is fast, it's reliable, it's reactive, and that's what we're here for. Let's jump into our Web3 server and let's start building that front end. Let's go. Okay, so let's start. If you have been following me for, I would say, more than a month now, you are familiar with this particular web application. We discussed on previous videos how to do a Web3 front end that communicates to your NFT smart contract, right? And we coded this particular ReactJS web server to talk to our NFT smart contract with API integration. So now we're pulling data out of Etherscan and getting the picture information, the NFT information, and so forth. Now we need to add another item into this ReactJS. We want to connect ourselves to the NFT staking smart contract, okay? So the first thing we need to do, we need to grab the ABI from the NFT staking smart contract and bring that into ReactJS. We need to store that in a const. So once we build the constant, we will import the ABI so we can store that information. And you're going to see why that's important. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and go to Remix, and this is how you import. This is one way of importing the ABI or copying the ABI out of your smart contract. The moment you compile, you will generate the ABI. So let's go ahead and compile the NFT staking smart contract. Once this is done, we should get an ABI. Okay, and there you go. You see it right here, right below here. I'm going to make a closer look here, and you can see ABI. So let's click there. We have copied the ABI. I am going to explain why this is important. And if you seen my previous videos regarding the NFTs, smart contract to the Web3 application, it's literally that. We need to talk to the NFT staking smart contract by invoking the ABI. That's how we can send requests to the smart contract from our Web3 application. That's very important. But now we're going to have two ABIs. We're going to have one ABI that stores the information from our collection smart contract, because we still want to leave the functionality of selling NFTs. We want to still give the end user the capability of buying NFTs and then staking them right on the same screen, right? So for that, we need to have two ABIs. We need to have one ABI exported from the collection smart contract. So you'll have to compile that one, right? And then copy it and then save it on React. And I'm going to show you how to do that right now. And then you export the other ABI, which is the NFT staking smart contract, okay? So let's go ahead and do that. So I'm going to copy my ABI. I already have the ABI for the NFT collection. If you need to know how to do that one, it's literally the same thing that I'm going to do here with the NFT staking smart contract, okay? So next thing I'm going to do, I am going to head to my Visual Studio Code, and let's go ahead and add another constant. And by the way, this, what you see right here, this is the ABI for the NFT smart contract or the collection smart contract. So now what we need to do, let's scroll all the way up. And again, you can just copy and paste, right? So what we need to do now, I have to create another constant to store the ABI for the NFT staking smart contract. So let's go ahead and do that. Let me scroll down, right? That's step one. And let's put it right here, constant, and we're gonna call this or let's call this vault ABI, right? And let's open here, and now we can go ahead and paste the ABI that we copied from Remix. So I'm gonna Control V, and boom, we got the ABI. By the way, I think we got already the closing brackets, so I just need one closing bracket. Let me scroll up to see the beginning. There we go, and I just need to delete this one because we already have one. Okay, awesome. Okay, now we have the constant, we have the ABI stored in that value, okay? So the next thing that we have to do, we have to create another constant, and I'm going to show you right now, to store the NFT staking contract address and also another constant. So how do we do that? Very simple. We are going to create another constant, and this one we can call it the vault contract. Okay, or we can say staking contract. And then what we need to do is we need to find the staking smart contract address, and that was provided, or that was generated when we deployed the smart contract. So in my case, what I can do, I can copy and paste because I already have it right here, and we are just going to copy and throw it here. There you go. Awesome. You saw it? Great. So now we got two smart contract addresses. The first one, and by the way, you know what? I should label this correctly, because if we need to troubleshoot, if we need to find a debug or troubleshoot the code, then we know exactly what we're dealing with, right? So let's label this NFT contract. Okay, so now we know this is the contract for the collection, and this is the contract for the staking smart contract. Okay, awesome. So we got that, we got those options. So now that we're done with those two constants, let's go ahead and build the first function. And the function that I'm going to be creating, it's a function to perform the staking call, or the staking. The first function that I'm going to create as a button, it's going to be the stake function. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, I'm going to explain how that works, because actually it's not that difficult. You might think it's hard, but once you understand how everything connects, then it's not that hard, to be honest. Okay, how do we talk Web3? And I think this is the key to understanding how we interact with Web3 and how do we interact Web3 with our staking smart contract. When we talked about Web3, because I see a lot of misinterpretation of what Web3 is. Web3 is basically it's a connection between our web front end to a blockchain, or in this case, to a smart contract that could perform certain functions, right? And then we create a front end that allows end users to interact without the complexity of coding, right? So we do all the hard work so then people can adopt that platform and then adopt blockchain. So that's why Web3 is very important. I think it's going to be by far the biggest revolution in the internet, in human history as of now, right? We have Web 2, which included, instant messaging, included social media, streaming services. That's Web 2. Web 3 is interaction with blockchain. So that definitely will change a lot. How do we operate in our daily lives? This is why I believe that you and I are following the right path in this new revolution, okay? Awesome. So you had that idea. So you now get the idea of Web3 in a nutshell, okay? So now what we need to do, we need to tell ReactJS, hey, when the user opens or clicks connect wallet, not only you need to open a connection to the NFT smart contract, we now need to do the same thing for the staking smart contract. So now we want to interact with both, so then I can start calling each particular function. So the first function that we need to add information to will be the connect wallet function. So how do we do that? How do we make sure that once we do a Web3 connection to MetaMask, I generate a hook to my staking smart contract the same way as I do with the NFT smart contract? We're just going to follow this last line. I'm telling you, it's not that hard. And I am a fan of copy and paste. Control C, simple as that. Control V. There you go. Awesome. Here's the difference. You see this ABI? Where is that pointing? The first thing that I got to tell the Web3 connection or Web3.js, I got to tell the path to the ABI or the constant that points to the ABI. And the second item that I need to tell is the address. What's the address? The smart contract address. You remember what we did? We changed this. So that's no longer called address. That is called NFT contract. So guess what? We have to make sure that we update that, right? Let's go down and make that change. And boom, we took care of that. Now we don't have any problems because now it's pointing to the right contract or the right name. And now you can see this is no longer grayed out like this right here. But we're going to fix this one as well. We are going to build another connection for the vault or the staking smart contract. So one thing, the ABI points to the constant that stores the entire ABI code on React. So let's go up real quick. And this will be the ABI for the NFT collection. And I think it's called ABI. There you go. So the first thing in the Web3 connection, it's pointing to the ABI. And then the second thing in the Web3 connection is pointing to the smart contract address. There you go. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. Okay. And now we need to do the same thing here. What's my first value? The vault ABI in this case. So this will be the staking smart contract ABI. So let me go down here and let me go ahead and replace that. The first one, remember, it's for the NFT smart contract, and this one is for the staking smart contract. Now we need to change this to point to the staking smart contract. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that. I am going to copy this again. I'm a huge fan of copy and pasting. So let me go here, Control V, boom. Now we got that. We now are pointing the right ABI to the right address, the right ABI to the right address. Awesome. Last thing, we have to make sure that this is not duplicate, because all this information that is going to be pulled from the Web3 call will be stored in contract, and then we will use that to call our methods. Okay, and I'm going to explain what is method right now. So we have to make sure this is unique. This is to call the NFT smart contract. This is to call the vault staking or NFT staking smart contract. Okay, so let me go ahead and change this to be vault. We can call this vault contract. Okay, this is what you have been wondering, how to interact with the smart contract from React or from any other web front end that could support Web3. Right here, this little guy right here does the magic. Okay, so if we take a look at the mint function, I am going to call any function inside the smart contract using the methods dot, and this is ethers.js, right? So we got the methods dot and then the function name. Okay, so in this case, I am calling the NFT smart contract because this is what literally it's calling to or referring to, the ABI at the NFT smart contract. Inside the ABI is where all my functions that I can use in the methods dot whatever it is I can call are stored here. So if I call something that it's not inside the ABI, guess what? It's not going to work. It has to be inside the ABI. That's why it's so important to have the ABI configured, so then we can call those functions. Okay, so that's basically the link. I call this the Web3 particle. The Web3 particle, it's literally the ABI. That's how we communicate to the blockchain, right? Okay, awesome. So by mimicking the mint function, now we know what we need to do. Let's build another function. I'm going to copy and paste because, again, I love copy and pasting. No, just kidding. I have everything staged. I think it's going to be faster if I do it that way. But I want to explain each one, right? So let me go right below, and I'm going to paste the first line, okay? And I am going to create a function called stake it, okay? This is literally the name that I need to call in the button. So when someone clicks that button, it's going to run the commands and it's going to do what I want to interact on the smart contract. Okay, so I open the function, I call that stake it. So now let's go back to Remix. Okay, I want to go to Remix because I want to show you something first. So let me go to Remix, and the first thing I gotta do, I am going to invoke the smart contract here that is already deployed. And by the way, the only thing that you have to do to invoke all the functions in the smart contract from Remix, if it's already deployed, you just need to make sure that you compile the smart contract file, and then you can paste the contract address here. That works. So let me go ahead and find that. So we got it right here. I am going to copy this. Let me copy it. And now let me go here, and I'm going to paste that here. I'm going to click address, and boom, there you go. Now we can interact directly in Remix with the contract. Okay, so we said that we want to create a stake function on ReactJS, and we already started doing it, right? We got the stake it function right here. Now we need to know what it's being asked. If I decide to do it from Remix, what the contract is going to ask for. It's right now the only thing that it's asking me to provide, it's the token ID. So we have to make sure that we code a similar approach in ReactJS. So let me go back. So if you can see here, the function is expecting for me to provide the token ID so it can run, or else we're not going to be able to pull that information or make the call. So what I can do, I can grab the token ID that any user on the website is just going to press a button. And let's say someone owns token 1, they can just, put a number 1 on a blank. And then once they hit stake, it talks to the smart contract. It sends the staking function and it proceeds, right? So what I need to do now, I have to call that function and store that in a var, right? So let's go ahead and paste that in. Okay, what am I doing right here? I want you to understand this very, very, very clear. So then you are going to know how to do every single call in Web3. Okay, it's not that hard. So the first thing I got to do, I got to create that variable. I labeled this token IDs. That's the name of it. right? But what I want to do and store in this variable, it's a number that will be pulled from a field that we are invoking in HTML code. And this is the name that I added. This is my own name, STKID or stake ID. Okay. So this, you can name this anything you want, but make sure that the syntax is like this, in brackets. Why is in brackets? Because the smart contract is expecting an array. So even though that I decide to stake, let me zoom this a little bit. So let's assume I want to stake a single NFT. I still have to open a bracket, put the number, and close the bracket. So that has to be configured the same way in React, or else it's not going to work. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, so we're gonna have the query selector. So basically what it does, it's expecting an input from the user. So in this case, the end user will type the token ID, and whatever input that the user applies on the ReactJS site, it's going to be stored in this variable. What are we going to do with that value? We're going to make the staking call, because the user gave us the token ID and we store that in this variable. So now I can go ahead and make the call. What call am I going to make again? A methods. What am I doing? What's the name of the methods that I'm going to be called to do that staking? Let's go to Remix and see what it is. Let's go down, and we can even see it here. This is the name, stake. That's all you're calling. So it's going to be name or variable of the contract, methods, and then stake. So it's variable of the contract, and this will be the value that was stored in the Connect wallet. Let me go back. When we created this variable, we actually said, hey, when someone hits Connect wallet, make this call to the Ethereum blockchain, or whichever blockchain is derivative of Ethereum, and call this ABI and call the smart contract, or the staking contract in this case. And any information that you got from there, make sure that you store that in the vault contract variable, because we are going to use that to call the methods. And you're going to see that right now, and everything will make sense. Don't worry. So let's go down. Now, what we need to do, we need to type the call from Connect Wallet. What's the call? Vault contract, right? Dot, what we need to talk to. The methods. That's how we do interactions in Web3, okay? Dot what? What's the name of the function? Stake. Ah, you like that, huh? I know you like that. Okay, so we got stake. Now, what we need to stake. What it's Remix going to expect from us, the token ID. So right now, what I need to do, I should expect an input from the user. But we are not expecting the user to put those brackets. We have to do that for them, because it's the end user. They're not technical. They're not going to know how to do this. All they are going to do is type the number of their NFT and press stake. Okay, so we have to do all that. So let's go back. Stake, and this is how we store the input from the end user. We are going to open parentheses, close parentheses. We are going to open that bracket and close that bracket, and this one, okay? And what are we going to input right here? So the user is going to type the number. The number will be stored in this value, because this is an HTML call that we are going to call below here in the HTML code itself. And that it's actually stored here. So this is where we grab this and we tell the stake function, hey, stake the token number. And that's the number that the end user is going to tell us to stake, okay? And what we need to do now, we need to send that request. When you are sending, you are executing a transaction that is payable. When you are calling, remember those two things. When you're calling, you're executing a transaction that is not payable. When you're sending, you're actually executing a transaction that is payable. It means that it needs to be mined. It needs to be processed. Okay, so in this case, I need to do a send. So it's going to be .send. From where are we sending that request? I am sending that request, and we're going to open this from account. Again, it's already in the mint function. Why do it again? Copy and paste. That's it. And obviously you close this. There you have it. That's how we stake in React.js. That's how we talk to the smart contract and perform the staking function. Okay. So from account, if you don't know where, what's this value? This value is the information from message.sender. Message.sender is the address from the wallet holding the NFT. In this case, the staker or the NFT owner. It's the message.sender, which then gets stored in the account variable, and then we can use the value right here. Now, knowing this, how do you unstake? It's the same thing. The only difference that we need to do is change the function name. Copy. By the way, we have to close it. Remember, we open it right here, so we have to provide a closing bracket. So I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste right here. So we close that function, but guess what? I am lazy. I'm just going to copy and paste. Now we need to do unstake. Change this. Unstake it. And what do we need to do here? Change this to unstake. Boom. What's that hard? What's that hard? Now we got the two functions. Now we can actually create the buttons, and we should be able to stake and unstake on the Web3 dAPP. Okay. One last thing. Those values are not declared, which means that I have to tell React, in this case, yeah, I have to tell React.js to declare this as null, because we want to make sure that we store anything that could be changed, right? So in this case, you're going to see that because I already did that for those two variables, the contract and account. So what I need to do now, I just need to create a third one for vault contract. So let me go ahead and do that real quick. And this is literally just to like fool React.js into thinking, yeah, I do have a variable. Even though that I am not generating a variable right here, I can then do this to, you know, spoof and tell React, yeah, I do, even though that is a null value. Okay, so that's one thing. All you have to do, make sure that you don't forget that. Okay. For the final part, because I don't want to dedicate too much into like the physical or into the GUI aspect or React styling, I want to create those two buttons so you can see that and we can do an interaction. Okay, let's go ahead and do that. Let me go down, and we already see, and we can just literally copy and paste what we did with Mint. Again, guys, everything is already pre-configured. All you have to do is copy and paste and modify. That's all we do. So we already should have an input, because it's somewhere, it's a field in which the user needs to type a number, and then we can call this here. So in this case, I need to create the same thing. So let me first find Mint. How does Mint got configured? And we did that on the previous videos when I showed how to create the Mint button. Okay. So let's find that information right here. And 1 second. There we go. And we can see here there's a button for Mint. And if we go to the React.js website, let me go ahead right now. And that will be the button. That's the button that we're working with, right, in HTML. So what I have to do, I'm just going to copy that. Okay. And we're not going to deal with the styling on this video. I just want to show you how to connect the Web3 app to the smart contract. And then on the following video, we'll do some nice styling, okay? So what I have to do, again, I am very lazy. So I am going to, also, I need to find the name. Oh, by the way, let me show you that, because that's very important. Name equals amount. That is what it's expecting to do the mint function. It's expecting how many NFTs does the end user wants to mint. So in this case, we can just mimic that same configuration, but for this in particular, right? So let me do that again. So what I'm going to do, I am going to copy this, right? And if you see, this is a form. A form is basically how we are graphically closing the Mint portal and all the buttons inside. So when we start form, You know, we add all the details and then we close form, and this is what it creates, right? So I can actually do that, or I can just create the buttons on its own. I'm just going to do that by copy and pasting so you can see how easy it is. So I'm going to grab, this is the end of form, this is the start of form. I don't think it's going to format correctly, but this is just for you to see how easy it is to change this whole thing. So now the second form, you see this is the start of the new form, this is the end of the old form. So we're just going to make a change right here. We're going to call this staking vault instead of mint portal. We're going to change that name. Please connect your wallet. Yeah, let's just leave that there. I'm just going to make one centralized button on the next video so everything is more organized. So I don't necessarily need to have the connect wallet here. I already have that on the other forms. Or, you know what, let's just leave it there. Let me just go back. Okay. And now the wallet address, I don't actually need to show that because that's already shown in the other item. So what I'm going to do, I am going to, this is the div for the wallet address section. I'm going to show you that real quick. Yeah, this section, this whole field right here, that is basically what it's being called in HTML. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to delete that. Boom. I'm going to leave the connect wallet. What else do I need? Okay, and this is where the magic will happen. This is what's calling the name for the mint function. If we go back, that's the name here. We need to make sure that we change that to this, okay? So let me copy once again. Let me go down. And remember, that's the second form right here. We're going to change this to be STKID. And we have a range. So let me show you what this means. We can remove that. So go back. So this is basically for me to change the range, you know, but in this case, we want this to be free for the user, because if the user has, like, you know, token 100, we got to make sure that that's allowed. So I don't need that here. That should be fine, right? We'll leave the input like that. And in this, instead of please select the amount, we're going to say input NFT ID, right? Because this is the staking function. And right now, what we are going to change, guess what? This is the staking button. We are going to replace mint with stake it, because that's the name of the function. Remember, it's not stake in the contract, it's stake it, because that's the name of my local function in ReactJS, okay? So we got that. You're good now, okay? So now we got this. Obviously, we have to change this text to show stake. And okay, and then we have that. And we need one last button, and that will be the unstake button. Okay, let me go ahead here. Let me paste this here. And in this case, we're going to leave this, make sure that it's the same. And we saw that this is turned on because now it's being used, right? It's actually called. And now we need to create the same thing for unstake it. So let me just type stake it. That's it. 2 letters. Literally copy and paste. It's magic. And obviously, we're going to say the same thing here. Awesome. Okay. Awesome. Now that we have that, yeah, we don't need to show the price because, again, we're not dealing with that. Okay. And we don't need to show the tokens because that's part of the NFT collection. And that should be it. That's all we need. Okay? That looks good. Awesome. So if that's the case, let's save it and see if we don't get any errors. I'm going to Control S. Boom, it's saved. Let's take a look at the site. Let me refresh. You like that? We still have to do some work, but again, it's that's the idea, right? And let me refresh. And beautiful. And sure enough, I can hit that connect wallet. Okay, so let me connect the wallet, and hopefully I can interact. And sure enough, that's a good sign. Yeah, this is something that we already had, and sure enough, it populated right here because we left that there. Let me just press number 1 right here, and I believe I should allow, I don't know if I bought token 1. Let's see. There you go. That's a good sign. But yeah, that means that I am not owning that NFT. So let me reject. I think I own number 2. Let me choose number 2. And I think I do have them staked. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to unstake them. So I'm just going to press 2. Let's see if unstake works. Yeah, it looks like it. Yeah, we don't get any errors. So yeah, I had that token ID staked already. I'm just going to press confirm. And sure enough, that should be it. It's on staking. So that means our function is working 100%. We're just waiting for the confirmation. Oh, we got on stake, and I do have a calculation done, so we got this incremented. That's awesome. Awesome. So now that I unstake, let me try to stake it back and make sure that it works, right? So now we have number 2. Let me try to stake it, and we should not see any errors. We don't see any errors. Let's confirm. Waiting for that confirmation. It is working 100%. Okay. I'm going to wrap it up here. It's a long video, but I want to show you, because a lot of people were asking me how to connect ourselves to a Web3, with Web3 to the smart contract. I want to show the whole function aspect and how you code that, right? So one thing that I want to show you, and this is why you should subscribe, please. It's because we are going to get to this point, okay? I'm going to show you, I'm going to give you a sneak peek, because by the end of this video training series, I'm going to get you from here to this. So stick around. You are going to love this one. There you have it. We have connected our NFT staking smart contract to a ReactJS server. And now users can stake their NFTs. There's a lot more things that we have to cover, that we have to learn, because we still need to do the claim function. We still have to display one more thing, and that is how many tokens have the end user earned while staking their NFTs on the dAPP, okay? So we have to work with that. Also, another video that I will be publishing or creating for you guys, it's how to properly calculate the rewards, right? So what I will do, I'm going to provide 3 configuration options. Number 1, 10 tokens per NFT per day. Let's build another one that gives you 20 tokens per NFT per day. And finally, 30 tokens per NFT per day. The whole idea behind this is for you to understand and how to manipulate the values until you get the staking reward amount that you are willing to issue to your NFT holders. Alrighty. I hope you liked this video. If you like my content, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed to, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.